Like, I was forever making illegal moves.
I mean, Yasser, did you watch the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz?
Yeah, I did. There
I'm
was
not
three
sure.
illegal moves.
3 in one game.
Or two in one game and one in the other. I mean, it was hilarious. And I said to Shakhriyar that the commentators had decided to award him the Kampamanis Prize. The Kampamanis Prize is for the best cheater in the competition. And unfortunately, he had no competition. He had it all to himself. He said, I'm very deserving of the Kampamanis.
I think he was cracking himself up
Yeah,
at some point.
exactly.
That is like, I've never seen that before.
No, it's pretty rare to be blunt. So somebody showed me the smothered mate. I was
Perplexed.
absolutely thrilled because somebody voluntarily gave up their queen. It's unimaginable. Somebody, I lose my queen, I lose the game. End of story. But voluntarily, and I was on a bicycle and I ran home to my mom. She's in the kitchen doing the dishes. I pull her out the kitchen. I set up the board and look, Mom, I go here. The king has to go there, and I go here, and I smothered me. She said, "Son, that's wonderful. Can I go back and finish the dishes?" I was like,
Well,
casting pearls away.
That's the thing about the chess, right?
Right?
Like, if you don't have any familiarity with it, it just means nothing to you.
Exactly. And that was sort of how I fell into the game. And then the crazy part was, and I'm not joking, Bobby Fischer, Boris Spassky occurred
Immediately after,
almost
yeah.
simultaneously with my learning the game. And
That's
I
it.
would go to the last exit, and the guys would have the New York Times newspaper. They'd have the game notation, which was, again, for me, this was like, what? What's a notation? Right? Like a score sheet.
Right.
So then they would replay the game exactly as the players played it, and they'd try to figure out why Bobby made this move and why, the evil Soviet guy, Boris Spassky, played the other move. And this went on. And now I was really, I was mesmerized. So I didn't want to appear stupid, like what they were doing was Greek. And I went to the Seattle Public Library, which is actually a pretty decent library. And I went in to look for chess books. And my God, it was pathetic. It was really, really, really hard finding, let's say, a Fred Reinfeld book, just to teach you how to make the notation. And remember, it was all English descriptive. It wasn't the algebraic of today. It was King's Knight to Queen's Bishop 4. What's the King's Knight? Which one?
So much more information than we have today.
Right?
I have Fischer's book still in that form of
Descriptive.
notation.
Yeah, right.
And I can't really get used to it.
No.
I mean, I can understand it, but I can't really get used to it,
Well, actually, I had the reverse problem. After I got used to it, after I had mastered descriptive, then came algebraic, and you should see my score sheets. Pawn to Queen 4, Knight to F6. Pawn to Queen Bishop 4, G6. And then when it was late in the game, then it was all Knight takes pawn, Queen takes
Bye-bye.
Knight.
Yeah.
No more
I
rules.
forgot about H6 and G8.
You know,
and
I could
everything
never
else.
figure out notation as a kid. I just couldn't figure it out. Like, I don't know which age I mastered being able to keep a full game score accurately,
Right.
but all my coaches would be like, "What are you writing? What are these games?" We would spend half the lesson like just trying to figure out what the moves were.
Right.
I would forget a move here, forget a move there.
Right.
Everything would get messed up. I was just like very forgetful as a kid.
Okay, but it goes to show just how difficult chess is. And the mastery of
And
chess.
that's actually what I want to ask you
took
about.
so-
Did you master it quickly?
No.
Did you get good fast?
No, I would say just rather the opposite. And really what happened with me, again, I was really, really fortunate. I fell into a circle of friends who were older than me by a few years, who really, kind of took care of me and said, "Hey, there's a chess tournament in Bellevue. You need a ride. Would you like to play?"
Was
That
this a
kind of
big thing
thing.
for you, the social aspect? Because for me,
Oh, huge.
this was the biggest thing. I was pretty good at it.
Right.
I was beating most of my peers at that time. But for me, it was just like going to the club. This is what I like.
Right.
Taking the bus, going to the club by myself, and just playing for like 2-3 hours. And that gave me the most pleasure. Was
The
that as
independence.
well for you?
No, that I understand what you mean about the independence, but for me, it was something else altogether, and it was the social acceptance. I'm 12 years old. I want to be accepted by my adult peers. I don't want to be this 12-year-old that goes, "Hey, Dad, why is the sky blue?" I want to be somebody that you want to have a conversation with. And what was really shocking was all of these chess players are much older than me, and they're willingly accepting me in their social circle. Like, "Hey, we're going to go out and have lunch. You want to join us?" "Yeah, sure." And then I'd be a part of the conversation. So my young adulthood was chess was like sort of like this doorway that opened up, right? I'd go to school and all my teachers would be treating me like I'm a 12, 13-year-old. Suddenly I'm in the chess club and "Hey, Yaz is here. Hey, you're really good. Let's play Bug House together. You'll be on my team, okay?" That kind of thing. So
Did you
that
have any
was
coaches?
really attractive. No. Again, it's such a different period of time. I can't even express it. But to go backwards and forwards for just a moment, I played in my first tournament, I'm going to say, in like November of 1972. So a number of months after I had learned the game. And I got a first provisional Northwest rating of about, I'm going to say 1,100. And I was vastly overrated. I remember this. This was hilarious. So we would play these tournaments. These were the 5-game Swiss weekend events. We played 3 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. So the first day, I lost all my games, 0 for 3. And the next day, Sunday, I won both my games, which is how I got this incredibly inflated rating of 1,100. And they gave me a trophy. Wow. And the trophy that I won, and I felt I was deserving, because after all, I did win 2 games, was the best under 14. What I didn't realize until years later, I was the only player under 14. I would have won it no matter what.
Prize is a prize.
Right, exactly. And I was coming home, and I opened up the front door and walked down the hallway, and the kitchen was the family room. Everybody went to the kitchen. That was where it was warm. That was where we have tea and snacks. And as you walk through the doorway, right above the doorway, those old clocks, plastic clocks. So, everybody in my family knew I'd lost my first 3 games, and I could hear the whispers. "How'd he do? How did you do? How'd he do?" And, I had hit the trophy behind my back, so I'm walking with my hands behind my back. "How do you think he did? How do you think he did?" I walked through the doorway. The clock fell down, hit me on the head, crashed on the floor, and burst into pieces. It was a cheap plastic clock. My mom said, "Oh my God, I think he won. His ego's so big he can't get through the door." Everybody cracks up. I produce the trophy. Ta-da! And I would more or less say at that point, my career was clear. I was enjoying chess so much.
But Yasser, did you feel any pressure? Because that's a big thing nowadays with parents pressuring their kids to perform. Did you feel that from your parents as well?
Definitely not.
Not so much.
No. First of all, I was very, very good at school. It just came natural. And I thought that school was very boring. So, I really liked chess a lot. I liked a lot of other stuff. I still did my sports and stuff, but okay.
So chess was the main thing, right?
Yeah.
And everything else was a hobby.
Yeah.
Or was chess a hobby as well?
I made money by being a lifeguard. So, Yeah. So chess was kind of this hobby, but really, really great interest. And my parents made a deal. Hey, man, this is really simple. You get A's, you can go and play in the chess tournament, and we'll support you. And